Hello YouTube, Camodo Gaming here, bringing you guys another episode of Scrap Mechanic, and today is going to be a little bit different. We're actually celebrating our 1-year anniversary on YouTube and for Scrap Mechanic. So what we're going to be doing here today, for all of my really old fans, it was an off-road school bus, and it was probably one of the worst things I've ever seen, but it was my first creation in Scrap Mechanic. It was my first video. The video did surprisingly well, and it's what helped launch the channel. I kind of go back and look at it now, and it's really awkward, and I'm really quiet, and I'm really nervous sounding. But yeah, we're gonna actually go back and redo that build. I've actually it's in the background here. I've completely gone back over it. It's like a 3.0 because technically we had a 2.0, and it's not really good either. But I do like this one here, so we're gonna check this one out. Talk a little bit about the channel, what our future plans are, and this is overall just for you guys, thanking you guys. But remember folks, if you're enjoying Scrap Mechanic, why not hit that thumbs up button? It helps out my channel. And also, I would like to hear from you guys, what are your favorite builds from this first year? Comment below. It can span any vehicles, it can do any buildings, just anything. I'm really curious as to what you guys like the most on the channel. But anyways, let's hop right into this. Okay, so face cam's out. A lot of you guys are probably wondering what my favorite builds are in the town. And my favorite builds are, there's two of them. I'm going to kind of name them off in categories actually. I've got my bank build, which is probably one of my favorite buildings. I like my city hall a lot, but the bank holds a really special place for me. And as far as vehicles, I like the vehicle that goes along with the bank, and that is the armored car. I really need to update this stuff. I would actually like to build another bank. I don't know if you guys would want to see that, but I've got so many more ideas for a bank that I really want to do it again, so we might do that soon. Now, as far as my favorite flying thing, I really like the fighter jet we did not too long ago in the military base, but once again, it's nostalgia. I really love the private jet episode. This jet has made its rounds. It's been through, I think, Squiddy's covered it, Queeblecop, Jelly. I think everybody's gotten a hold of this jet, and I absolutely love it. It also could use an update. Ever since that texture update, the wood looks a bit weird. But yeah, now my other favorite old builds are going to be over here. Let's go over those real quick. Alright, as far as my old videos, probably one of my favorite was the sprint car. Now this is a new sprint car. We're going to go over this here in a second. I love racing, like everything about racing, and that was a build I was actually really proud of because it was really early in the Scrap Mechanic life cycle, and I think I did a pretty good job on it. So we've redone that one, and this thing's an absolute beast. We're going to go over this one last. But yeah, the off-road school bus. I've had the off-road school bus 2.0, which was really just a bigger version of the first one, but it didn't really work that well. Now, the first one had dual wheels in the back. It looked kind of similar. Actually, no, it really didn't look similar to this. I'm lying to you guys. It was probably about half the size. It was made of wood. It didn't have any of the shape. It was really just a box or a rectangle with wheels. Now that I've gotten a little bit more used to Scrap Mechanic, obviously we do tons of town builds, tons of vehicle builds, I really want to have a true off-road school bus. Now, not only does this thing act as an off-road bus, you can probably see, and let me go ahead and pull out the connection tool here. You can probably see the thrusters on the bottom of it, and you can guess what this thing does, and the heck? We don't have connections anymore. Oh, there they are. There's been some weird bugs in Scrap Mechanic ever since the new engine update. So, yeah. This thing's got a lot going on. So this thing, it does fly. It's not the greatest flyer. It is an absolute heavy craft here. It's metal on the inside. There's concrete floors. I do have a bit of wood on the bottom. All metal in here. It's got a pretty cool suspension on the front. I've been going back and looking at a lot of off-road creations, and there's a really pretty awesome suspension where it uses a couple controllers. Let's go ahead and open up the hood. I can explain it a little bit better. Let's pop that open real quick. Oh, wrong one. I gotta remember which buttons. There it is. Okay, so let's go check that out real quick. It actually works pretty good. It's kind of buried under the engine here, but it uses two arms. It's freaking out a little bit right now. and it's got these suspension pieces, and there's these controllers that actually bend the arms out, and it makes for a really nice off-road ride. Of course, you can see the engine detail in here. It's a big off-road school bus. We have to have a big beefy engine. You've got all the lights, you've got a big brush guard on the front of it. Around back, you can just see the thrusters popping out the back. You've got the, I think this is actually called the emergency door. We actually have two of them here. There's a hatch up at the top. So you've got that, you've got dual back wheels. It's on a solid axle in the back. So yeah, this thing's pretty mean looking. Let's go over the inside real quick. Of course, you got the two doors here. I made a little bar step right here, and you just pop up on the inside. It seats quite a few. I couldn't make the seats go all the way back into the back because I needed room for more thrusters and the wheel wells, which are pretty massive since you have the dual wheels in the back. Now, you do have a roof hatch here. Kind of poke out the top, just in case you flip over. You've got that. You can see there is a roll cage in here. I mean, what kind of off-road vehicle doesn't have some sort of full roll cage in it? So you've got that, goes all the way to the front, and it kind of goes down into the floorboard here, but disappears. I don't actually have it on the bottom. But yeah, let's go ahead and close these here. And this thing, it's a beast. Now, the way this thing's wired, and I'm going to go over the actual spider web here in a second. Let me go ahead and drive it around for a sec. This thing is wired. It's got I think it's called a W or an AD converter on it. I've got several thrusters that are activated with the actual steering itself, because when I hit W, you can see the back thrusters kind of get going. There's two electric motors in there, and that wasn't enough to pull this thing fast enough. This thing just needed so much more. Now, as far as how it handles the terrain, you think, oh, this is way too big, but no. This thing does a remarkably good job. It still will high center in certain spots. Like, I could probably get it... Speaking of, I can get it to do it right here. But, hey, if you're high centered, you know what you can do? Just activate those thrusters and get off it. Like that. That is awesome. I thought about how I wanted to approach this because I knew, okay, first, or 1 year anniversary, we want to do an old build, like an old school. I was like, all right, off-road school bus, but it's got to be more epic than the other ones. And when I say epic, the other ones weren't that epic, but I guess they were for the standards back then. So yeah, I thought, all right, well, it needs to fly, it needs to handle really good, it needs to just do pretty much everything. Now, before we go into full flight mode, let me go ahead and show you the bottom, where I can explain just a little bit more about what's happening here. So we're going to pull our lift out, and let's put it back on it real quick. Okay, now, there's several different things, and I do apologize for this. This is messy. So there is 3 suspension glitches going on here. This thing's so heavy, it needs to turn. You've got that, I want to call it kind of like an active suspension right here. These thrusters, they all go to different things. There's a pitch thruster here, and these other ones are activated, I believe, with the 4 key. I've got 2 roll thrusters. Those are the blues there. Those are, I think they're on the AD converter, yeah. So when you turn, it'll cover the sensor, and it'll help balance it, because this thing likes to tip when it turns. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it does work a lot better than it did. And back here is a couple more controllers. You can see the solid axle. So yeah, hopefully that gives you a better clue as to what's happening here. And, oh, my character almost looked like he was going to delete more than the lift there. So I think we're ready to go into flight here, or at least attempt to. Everybody knows my flying skills are pretty lacking, so anyways, let's go ahead and continue going over the controls. The 1 key opens the side door, 2 key opens the hood here, get some engine detail, and the 3 key opens the back door. I do not have the roof hatch on the actual driver's seat. You have to go back there and manually push it. So yeah, to take off. Now you're gonna, if you just want to hover, this thing's like a VTOL. It's kind of weird. You can just kind of go up like that, which is, yeah, that's odd looking. Now to go forward, you could remap this to make this a bit easier. I'm already so used to keyboard dancing, I don't think it really matters. The 5 key is pitch down, the 6 key is pitch up, and your 7 key is your horn. Everything else is pretty well mapped to WASD. So I think with a mixture of the suspension glitches, they're helping this thing, and then with the mixture of the roll stabilizers, I guess we can call them, they'll re-level this thing back out. Now it doesn't fly like a aircraft at all. It flies more like a helicopter, kind of like everything in Scrap Mechanic in a way. But I think it's pretty cool, so let's go ahead and activate those thrusters. Now, I thought about putting even more on the back end, but I figured, you know what, I think we've got enough. This thing is kind of hard to control anyways. I don't want to make it 10 times harder. Now, one thing I still might modify, we might add one more suspension glitch. I think if you turn it the other way, we might be able to get this thing to roll, or if I have it on like a wall. And there's a certain way you can manipulate those to get this thing to turn a little bit better. But I've never been really good at making suspension glitch flyers. It's just never been my thing, but I actually think this came out pretty good for one, so anyways, you know, I could say let's try to make do a flip or something, but I think we're going to crash down into the earth. Let's go ahead and gain some altitude here, and we're going to try a little backflip. Let's go ahead. This is probably going to end terribly, so let's go ahead and give it some thrust here. Help it flip, come on, come on, come on. Oh no, oh no. Yeah, that wasn't a good plan. Wow, that hit with some force. This thing is way too heavy. So, oh, you know what? I didn't expect to pop out the top like that. I really thought I was gonna have to use the door. Yeah, this thing's pretty cool, I have to admit. This was a build that I was wanting to do. I was wanting to do something kind of like I used to do a long time ago. A lot of people forget that most of my episodes, back then, I used to not do buildings. It used to be like, hey, here's one vehicle. It could have been a garbage truck, could have been a lowrider. It's just one vehicle. Now, with town builds, I like to try to do a building and a vehicle combo, in which that is a lot more stressful to do. It takes a lot more time, but it's just something that I've grown accustomed to, and I think I can, you know, get those episodes out, and I believe you guys do really appreciate those. So let's go back to the site, and we're going to check out the sprint car. Alright, here is my sprint car. Now, we did move over to a flat map for this. This is a type of vehicle. It's not an off-road vehicle. It needs a flat or if you could get a banked dirt track, that's what this vehicle really needs. Now, this one's pretty cool. My first one, I'll probably flash the video up. I missed some very key things with a sprint car. A sprint car has a front wing, and this was completely gone from the last build, so you can see them on controllers here. It's shifted back. I think I did quite a bit better job with the top wing here. Of course, we got the new bars in Scrap Mechanic, or when I say new bars, they've been around for probably 3 or 4 months now. But I didn't have these bars, I only had the big fat pipe pieces. So this makes it look so much better. It looks like you've got exhaust coming out, you've got the correct bumpers and the sidebars. Now, a sprint car, like I said, dirt oval car, very fast, a ton of power. It's like a little dirt rocket. The back wheels are bigger than the front wheels. The right rear wheel actually it's actually bigger than the left rear wheel, but Scrap Mechanic only has certain sizes, so I did shift it out by 1. This actually does help. I have 2 suspension pieces here. This one's set a little softer than this one on the left side, and that's to help the car dig down on its right side. Now, the way these things turn, a lot of times the front wheels, they're in the air half the time. When they're in the corner, those back wheels are what's really digging in. The front wheels are basically when they try to catch it and try to get it to turn that first time, it'll turn, but then most likely they're back off the ground again. And that's what we've kind of accomplished here. This thing likes to pop wheelies, but to turn this, you need to let off a little bit, throw it in, and you can slide it out. Now, you gotta be careful here. These things are prone to flip. If you go watch any sprint car footage, you're most likely gonna see some sort of flip on pretty much every race. So yeah, you gotta be careful with that. It does pop wheelies. It's powered by 2 electric motors. The ones in the back are or at least the back motor's powering the back wheels, the front motor's powering the front. The back power level is set up a little higher than the front. And look at that, it actually slides. This thing's fun. I kinda wanna build another dirt track. This will be kinda fun to do. Kinda fun to do some multiplayer. Oh, they are not meant to turn that way. That is a no-no. We are left turns only. Let's go ahead and set that back up. There we go. Yeah, that back bumper bar actually catches it a bit. This is cool. This kind of reminds me, it feels kind of old school what I was doing today. It feels like, oh, you know, I'm just building a couple vehicles here for you guys. And that was actually a pretty refreshing feeling. It kind of felt like old times, and I do miss that a little bit, and I probably will go back to some of that. We will still, of course, always do our town builds or whatever our themed world is with buildings, because I actually realized I think I'm pretty decent at doing those. You guys seem to really dig that. but I'm not going to rule out certain vehicle builds like this. So if you have any suggestions, comment below. I look forward to hearing it. I look forward to hearing the comments every day. And a lot of you do acknowledge the whole fact that I like to go in and interact with you guys as much as possible. And by the way, this is probably where the channel update part is going to come into effect. So if you don't want to hear me ramble, you can go ahead and leave right now. I'll put these up on the workshop, but I'm going to go back to the other world, and we're going to do just a quick little channel overview and update, and then we'll wrap it up. Alright, we are back in the other world. Now, the way the rest of this week's going to play out, we're going to do probably a viewer creation town episode tomorrow, and then I'll have an actual town video or my own build on Saturday. So we're going to do that, but I do hope you enjoyed this little 1-year anniversary, kind of get a little insight as to my thought process with Scrap Mechanic and my favorite creations. Now, as far as how we're going to continue this, we're going to always continue Scrap Mechanic. I am going to try to introduce some more games to the channel. Right now, we've been kind of doing this little cycle with Scrap Mechanic, Brick Rig, City Skylines, and some My Summer Car. Now, what the problem with My Summer Car is that we've done a lot of basically what we could do, or what we can do. Not unless you start coming up with basically unique ideas of like, hey, let's do this with the car, or that with the car. So I would like to return to it. It would be nice to get some sort of update, that way we have some more content with it. So I've been kind of struggling a little bit with that. Brick Rigs, there's always stuff I can do in there. I always do builds. Quite a few people actually enjoy that series, and if you haven't tried out any of these other series, I do suggest, if you want to go check those out. I know a lot of people are here just for Scrap Mechanic, and that's completely fine. But eventually, as the channel evolves, we will be playing other games, and I will have to try to get more subscribers and more viewers from other, basically, genres and other types of games to try to continue to build the channel. Not saying like, oh, we're giving up Scrap Mechanic, because we're not going to do that anytime soon. The game is in early access. They are only going to add stuff to it. They're going to add survival, and we're going to do basically everything. I'm going to try to cover all I can with the game, do more themed worlds and builds, but I will be trying out some new games. So if you have any suggestions for games, comment below. I'm pretty open to a lot of things. I'd like to try to keep it in the indie category as far as new indie games, or survival, or crafting and creative games like Scrap Mechanic. I was almost going to say like creativity games, but some of that's kind of broad. I want to say morely like Scrap Mechanic type of games where you can build with blocks and you can do sort of mechanical type deals. Not necessarily something like Minecraft, because I've had requests to play it, and something big would have to happen for me to go and actually play it, because it's so saturated. I mean, everybody everybody is playing Minecraft or has played Minecraft, and yeah, it's not really my thing. But anyways, other than that, like I said, we're growing strong. We're probably we might be at 64,000 by the time this video comes out. And that is mind-blowing for the first year of the channel. I would have never have expected to do that. That's amazing. Like, when I first started out and I started gaining some subs, I was like, man, if we can make it to 1,000 subs before my first year, I would call that a success. And here we are with 64,000, and I think we're at about 11.5 million views. Like, that is mind-blowing. I remember when we crossed, it was like 10,000 and a million views, and I thought, oh, who does this? I mean, certain people do it. I mean, look at Mr. Gear, who likes to cut stuff with hot knives. I kind of wish I would have thought of that one. I'm not bashing his content or anything, but that guy absolutely exploded by cutting things with a hot knife, and yeah, that's pretty cool. But anyways, yeah, so I'm really happy with the growth. We grow each and every day, so I'm happy as long as we're growing, as long as we're getting views. I'm completely happy with the channel. I am not full-time right now. I would like to go full-time at some point, but I've got to be careful about that, because you've got to watch the trends. I don't want to get stuck with YouTube being my only source of income and it start to slow down. That's a very scary thought. So that's why I keep my job. That's why I'm still working basically full-time on top of YouTube, which is also full-time, because a lot of people do not realize how many hours you put into YouTube. It is not easy, as far as, especially if you're a creative type channel and you have to build things. not only are you doing your recording and editing, but you have to spend hours trying to put something together. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You know, I can't just go in, and that's why I do like the games that I can go in, like City Skylines, and even somewhat of Brick Rigs if I'm checking out viewer creations. I can go in, have fun, and record and it be over. But, you know, as far as your building, it takes a lot. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to probably quit rambling there. I do hope you appreciate this, get a little more perspective as to where I'm coming from and what we're doing with the channel. But yeah, if you like to like and subscribe, if for some reason this is your first video from me, I've got plenty of other gameplay series, I've got plenty of scrap mechanic videos. I'm going to go check those out. But anyways, hope you guys have a good day, and we will see you tomorrow in Scrap Mechanic. Thank you.